Hello and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. It's time for another racing edition from us here on the YouTube channel, and it's the weekend racing preview. I would say Saturday racing preview, but actually this weekend, just to throw a spanner in the works, it's going to be a Sunday racing preview. Obviously, the racing schedule, along with various other sports, been moved around after the sad loss of Prince Philip earlier this week. Obviously, he was a keen horseman himself and helped the Queen. It was quite a regular face at Royal Ascot, so the racing world have reacted accordingly. The Newbury card in particular has been moved to the Sunday, and that has got some very juicy races on it. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at. We're filming this as of Friday afternoon, so prices are correct as of Friday afternoon. I'm sure things will change as the next 48 hours pan out, but here we are. We'll have a go at it anyway. So going to crack straight in with the big handicap of the day, which is the Spring Cup. So as I say, at Newbury, similar in a way to the Lincoln at Doncaster, which we previewed a few weeks ago. Straight mile, good ground, big field, 18 runners here. Looks like a tough one. Adam, who wins?
Well, Pie Man, I'm going to chuck two at you. There will be no doubt some enhanced place terms available, knocking about with the bookmakers as and when the odds make themselves known throughout Friday afternoon. But we're going early on this. So the two I'm chucking at you, Pie Man, is Nugget is the first one, number 11 for Richard Hannon, who loves Newbury. Had a more than decent 2020 Nugget as a 3-year-old, 2 wins, 2 seconds from 4 starts. You can't argue with that, regardless of what level he's doing it at. He ran 11 days ago, Nugget, at Nottingham. Should really have won. The jockey that day, the young jockey that day, did get him in a fair bit of trouble. And if you backed him that day, which I didn't, you would be disappointed with the ride he was given. Ryan Moore's back on this horse today. Ryan won on this horse last year on his best ever performance, which was the back end of last season. Ryan was on. He's on again today. Like I say, Richard Hannon loves a winner at Newbury. He's 10-1. It's not quite a vintage renewal of this race, Pie Man. I've probably seen a better renewals of this. Usually you get a lot of runners that have ran it in the Doncaster Lincoln come straight here. Some have, but there's not as many as usual in this 18 runner field. So Nugget would be my first selection. My second choice would be less confident, but no, I'm going to give it to you anyway. Number 8, Rivich. He did run in the Lincoln. He was 100-1 and finished 8th, only beaten 5 lengths. He's not certain to stay a mile. That's why it's a tentative selection. I think that was actually only his second try over a mile ever in his career was last time. But yeah, he caught the eye really to me. He was unlucky, stuck in a bit of a pocket. Just at a key point in the race, didn't really get a clear run. Like I say, it was 100-1 that day. He's going to be about 16-1 for this. He's going to need luck in running. Again, he'll probably be ridden with patience out the back. Like I say, not guaranteed to stay the mile, but I can't let him go unbacked. After he went in my notebook after the Lincoln, I can't let him go unbacked. So I'll be having a couple of quid each way. But the main selection, Pie Man, at this stage would be Nugget.
Just on Revich, Angus Villiers set to be jocked up. Any thoughts on the jockey there?
Oh, I like him. Rode this horse last time. Claims £5. So that can always be valuable with an apprentice rider. But I personally don't put as much value into the apprentice riders as others were. The claiming scheme, and that's what it's called, where they carry less weight than the more experienced professionals. It's there for a reason. If every claim of £5 or £3 was a massive advantage, they'll be top of the Jockeys Championships, and they'll be in every race. So it's there for a reason. You do get good ones. We saw a good claimer win the Lincoln itself a few weeks ago for John Gosden. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name, but he's one to follow, the French lad. Yeah, I do like Angus Villiers. I've seen him a couple of times. I think he first caught my eye at Meydan in Dubai. Maybe a couple of years ago, so he's still yet to ride out his claim. But yeah, wouldn't put me off on this occasion, Pie Man. And like I say, he's had experience of riding the horse last time. He'll need to be patient for Rivich to be able to stay a mile truly.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. I mean, I think it's only fair that we do touch on the favourite in the race, which has been quite a strong favourite all week in the shape of Troll Peninsula for Roger Varian. 3 runs to his name, 2 wins. It's the first time down in handicap, down at the bottom of the weight. So what's not to like? I suppose the price, maybe.
Yeah, the price may be off-putting, but he's drifting a little bit, Pie Man. He was as low as 4-1 before final declarations. Ante Post, he was as low as 4-1. I wouldn't bet Ante Post in handicaps. We've said that before. He could go off 5 or 6-1. He's 5-1 currently. Troll Peninsula, like you say, he's the typical unexposed 4-year-old coming into a handicap against the big boys. could well be the answer, Pie Man. Don't get me wrong. He's rated 88. I mean, the top horse in this horse is rated 107. So he's going to be carrying, I mean, how much is that? That's £19. He's going to be carrying £19 less than Rayek, who is top of the handicap off 107. So, I mean, yeah, Troll Peninsula could well be the answer here, but it looks a bit short to me. And I do like a bit more of experience of bigger fields. So he's ran in a 13-runner maiden, a 10-runner maiden, won, and then he's ran at Kempton this year and won that easily by 3.5 lengths. But that was only 9 runners. Like I say, it could well be the answer, Pie Man, but I'm not in the habit of tipping 5-1 favourites in big runner handicap.
No, and I don't think any viewers would be thanking you for putting up a 5-1 favourite in a huge
handicap.
I
mean, if I could have a 5-1 winner every time we spoke, Pie Man,
well, exactly,
I'd be happy as Larry. So, like I say, it could well win, but it won't have my money on.
Exactly. I mean, nothing wrong with going with the favourites, but you've got to be a favourites chance if you're going to go with it. And I think these huge fields, and at this stage of the season as well, it always favours to maybe look a little bit beyond the obvious. And there's normally a couple lurking, isn't there, in the field? So let's hope you found a couple of good ones there. We're going to move on to the Group 3, the John Porter Stakes, as it was formerly known. May have a sponsor name now, I'm not sure, but it's run over 1.5 miles. It's kind of the chief support to the Spring Cup. Aasy threatened to be a St. Ledger contender last year, but his season kind of tailed off a bit, really. Disappointing run at Glorious Goodwood. He comes in as a 7-4 favourite, short enough for this, and 262 days on from that. Is he your idea of the winner in this one?
The short answer, Pie Man, is yes. Although I've just said that we won't be back in favourites very often. Yeah, the short answer is yes, to be honest, because I actually backed this horse around about a year ago for the Derby. Now, he didn't make it there, and that'll often happen with my Derby selections. But, yeah, he is short enough. He's 7-4, best price. He could go off shorter than that. But the William Haggas yard is flying at this early stage of the season. That should be noted. They're operating at a strike rate of about 25%. And this, to me, is the kind of horse that the Haggas team do well with. Just got the right kind of profile. He's got the right age. His 4-year-old still got development to fill into. This is the kind of trip that Haggas likes with some of his horses. It's well bred. He ticks a lot of boxes for me. Like you say, season did curtail a little bit last year at Goodwood, and that's why we've not seen him since the end of July. But at the start of July, he turned up in a Newmarket Group 3, and he won it by a quarter, 1.25 lengths. But before that was the Bahrain Trophy. That is a known St. Ledger trial, and after he won the Bahrain Trophy, by just under 2 lengths, he was then right up there in the St. Ledger market. Didn't end up at the St. Ledger itself, but yeah, clearly that was a performance of talent. And if he retains 90% of that talent, and he's developed over the summer now as a 4-year-old, I think he sees this field off, to be honest with you, Pie Man.
Yeah, so just as we said, we won't be putting up favourites in these kind of races. We put a favourite up straight away. No, to be honest, I can get exactly where you're coming from there. When a horse has been touted for that kind of level, these elite races, the Derbies and the St. Ledgers, and then ends up into a Group 3 company, it's quite a drop, isn't it? He won't have to retain much of his ability to have a serious chance here, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a good start for the season, and I think we'll be seeing him at Royal Ascot later in June.
Very interesting. Moving on to the final two, the Guineas Trials, which will be reviewed in our Ante Post previews videos for the 2,000 and 1,000 Guineas. Do keep an eye out for those at the start of next week, where we run through all of the trial races, and sure to be of interest if you've got an interest in the classics. First, we'll have a look at the Fred Darling, I think, where there's a massive field of 17 declared. You've said in the past that trial races, you don't generally like to bet on them, but there might be one that tempts you here, I think.
Yeah, well, there's been 6. This will be the 7th. This will be the 7th official trial race this year from the UK and Ireland, taking place in Newmarket earlier in the week. But yeah, so this is the last fillies trial. I've not had a bet in any of those trials at all yet, but I fancy one here, and it's going to be Wild Iris, number 16 of the 17. It's only ran once, but it ran the back end of last year in October for John Gosden at Newcastle. You need to watch the replay for this horse. Missed the break terribly. Chance was almost blown within 4 or 5 seconds. The official comments on Racing Post read, lost many lengths start, blah, 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 and still won comfortably by 2.5 lengths. So, to do that and still win was of note to me. The John Gosden yard is absolutely flying, and he doesn't won't be the horse's second start, thrown in at this level, which is a Group 3. He's normally a steady man with his youngsters, John Gosden. So yeah, take note that he's chucked one up in here at this early stage. He had a winner in a race called the Wood Ditton at Newmarket on Wednesday. Normally one of the best maidens around of the whole season. He's also won that, and the guys at ITV said, well, you're going to look at a classic next, maybe a Derby trial. He says, no, we'll go to a novice race next. So, that could end, that's going to end up in a novice race rather than jumping on. So he does take his time. So to see Wild Iris in this race just off a second run is one to note. And it's 14-1, Pine Man. I think that is too big. There's a lot of horses in this race, including the favourite, Alcohol Free, that will be racing over 7 furlongs for the first time. And this is going to be a fact-finding mission to see if the horse will sufficiently stay 7 furlongs with a view to the Guineas in a couple of weeks' time, which is over a mile. So Alcohol Free, I would take on for absolute sure. She's 7-2. Happy Romance showed best form last year over 6 furlongs. She's 7-1. I'll take on that. Dandala, exactly the same. A winner over 5 and 6 furlongs last year. 7 furlongs for the first time. That's 3 of the top 4 in the market that I would happily take on. So when I'm scrolling down and I see the words John Gosden and Frankie Dettori, and I see this horse won last time. Gosden loves sending good horses to Newcastle. She's had one start at the back end of last year. And we'll come here. I think he's had a winner of this quite recently of this race. Can't remember the name, but yeah, Wild Irish at 14-1. I think each way, cracking price. And to be honest with you, I know we're at 2:30 on Friday afternoon, but if this horse won't be at 14-1 at 2:10 on Sunday. That's my prediction.
It's definitely a very interesting, compelling case made for it. I mean, she'll have to learn from that missing the break. She won't be able to do it in this company, but no reason why she won't. And as you say, why would John Gosden send her up there if he didn't think a lot of her? So definitely want to keep an eye on Wild Iris there. Let's have a look at the Greenham then, just to wrap things up, I suppose. The 3:20 it'll be run on Sunday. It's the male equivalent and a race won by the one and only Frankel 10 years ago. And I think saw a video earlier this week saying it was the anniversary of Frankel's racecourse debut, I believe. So, yeah, quite.
No, it won't be racecourse debut. It'll be the anniversary of this race.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That would be quite fitting if we had another special performance on this weekend. But this is a field of more exposed runners, isn't it, on the looks of it? And how do you see this one going?
Yeah, it's tentative, Pine Man, but I like Chindit. Again, I've mentioned Richard Hannon. Newbury's his local course, and he does love Newbury. 12 runners in this. This is filled with horses that are more exposed or had more runs as juveniles last year in comparison to the Fred Darling that we've just spoke about. So the Fred Darling's a mixture. There's some that we saw a lot last year, and there's quite a few that we only saw once or twice. In this Greenham, we've seen almost all of these horses 4, 5, 6 times last year. There is a couple in here making just the second or third start, but that's it. Of the 12, most of them had plenty of runs last year. Chindit was one of them. He had 4 runs last year. Definitely Richard Hannon's best two-year-old on the track last year, and he would normally favour this race for his best 3-year-old going forward into this year as well. Uses this race quite regularly. A horse called Night of Thunder, who won the 2000 Guineas in 2014, trained by Richard Hannon. I was actually second in this race, so he will send his good ones here. It will be favourite Chindit. He's around 5-2, but rightfully so in my opinion. You can't just say you're not going to back favourites as a general rule. You just have to look at the favourite. Do you think it's too short, and do you think it's not short enough? I think the 5-2 is about right, and that there could be a bit of juice in that, to be honest. He ran in the Dewhurst, which we've spoke about a lot in our other 2000 Guineas Ante Post previews. He ran in the Dewhurst. He only was 9-2. He was second or third favourite on the day. Good race, as we know. Pretty much a no-show. The form wouldn't, just looking at it, finished 9th. That wouldn't fill you with confidence. But he didn't really get any sort of run, Pine Man. The ground was soft on that day. He met quite a lot of trouble. I wouldn't put anyone off Chindit, to be honest with you. He's not an each way price. He's going to be a win price. And I would fancy him at the prices. Yeah, he's definitely the best horse in this race, if you ask me.
So a very strong endorsement for Chindit there. And we've had a few horses put up by Adam there. We've obviously going back to the Spring Cup. We've got a very positive shout for Nugget. Revich, also an interesting runner. As you mentioned there, Chindit, but we've also had favourable mentions for Aasy. Plenty there to go on, Adam. What I'm going to ask you is, we're called Doubles and Trebles. Can you give us a double and can you give us a treble?
Right, well, the bad news is I don't think we're going to have a treble this week because I've got 2 horses at shorter price and another 2 horses at longer prices. So I don't like mixing long and short prices. I'd rather stick them together. So from an each way perspective, the double is going to be Nugget in the 350. Sorry, I've got that wrong. In the 320, Nugget is going to be 10-1. He's going to be in an each way double with Wild Iris at around 14-1 in the 245. That's the each way double. So get your money on that. And the win double is going to be Aasy in the 135 around 7-4. But more confidently, Chindit in the 245 is 5-2. They're my ideas of winners and each way shouts this weekend.
Nice one. Something for everyone in that mix there. And I hope you've enjoyed that. Do let us know in the comments below if you fancy anything on Sunday or generally going forward. Keep your eyes peeled for our 2,000 and 1,000 guineas previews to come at the start of next week. And we'll hopefully hear from you very soon. Do give us a like and a subscribe as well. Thanks for watching.